celebrates Black History Month.
Right now at 5, authorities respond to a truck crashing into a restaurant in Neosho. Plus, it is somewhere on the order of 40 degrees colder out there than where we were 24 hours ago. Talk about a cold front. We'll have a look at that forecast. Get you out the door coming up. And Chitopa residents are dealing with the anxiety of losing the town's only grocery store.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now just after 5 a.m. on this Wednesday morning. We are halfway through the work week. And boy, you want to talk about a cold front. It got cold out there. And on top of that, we still have those gusty winds to deal with. Now, thankfully, they'll let up a little later, but you will definitely want to bundle up or perhaps hibernate for today because, in my opinion, honestly, if I didn't have to go outside to get here, I wouldn't have because it is just too darn cold compared to where we were yesterday. And yesterday, we set a record high, and now we're bitterly cold. Let's take a look outside and see what things look like. This is our camera on top of the Cornell complex in downtown Joplin, and it's still shaking in the wind. You can see those flags on City Hall blowing, and I got that north breeze still gusting out there, giving us some unpleasant wind chills, as if the fact that the temperatures were 40 degrees colder wasn't bad enough. We also have to contend with some wind chills out there back into the teens in some areas. It is cold. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line looks good. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 in Kansas Crossing. It looks fantastic. You know, thankfully we didn't really get much. I saw maybe 5 snowflakes on my way in, so there's really not much in terms of precipitation out there right now. But take a look at this. 24 in Joplin, 23 in Pittsburgh. Very cold out there. Kids getting on the bus, bundle up. 24. North breeze 10 to 20, still gusting upwards of 30, but mostly clear skies. This is that day like we get in the wintertime sometimes where it's really sunny. It looks so nice out, and then you step outside and Mother Nature slaps you in the face. That's what we've got right now. Mostly clear skies later today, low 40s by the time the bus brings them home. That north wind, though, calming down about 5 to 10 miles an hour. The winds will let up by about noon or so out here. We're going to have a very cold start. It's a slow climb into the low 40s out there, but at least we'll have plentiful sunshine. It will certainly look pleasant outside. It just isn't going to feel pleasant. And that's the other thing. We're going from record highs yesterday to temperatures about 10 to 15 below normal today. Talk about wait 5 minutes. The weather will change if you don't like it, because it certainly did. We will warm back up, and we'll have more on your complete forecast here in just a few more minutes. Now to this morning's top stories. Jasper County authorities charge a man with child sex crimes. Jasper County Sheriff's Office started investigating Rusty Little of Anderson on February 7th. During the investigation, they say they learned he performed sexual acts on a young girl. Deputies arrested Little yesterday in Joplin. He now faces charges of first-degree statutory sodomy and sexual misconduct involving a child. And a federal judge sentenced a Carthage man to prison for child pornography. 36-year-old James Beam pled guilty to 1 count of receiving and distributing child pornography after sending an explicit video to an undercover FBI agent last September. Beam will serve 12 years in federal prison with 20 years of supervised release afterward. Missouri State Highway Patrol responded to a motorcycle crash just south of Reddings Mill yesterday evening. Nicholas Glover, age 22, of Seneca, was riding a motorcycle north on Missouri 86 and attempted to pass on a curve and double yellow line. He sideswiped an SUV and then hit a minivan head-on. Glover was pronounced dead on the scene. No one in the other vehicles suffered any injuries. And a pickup crashed into the Denny's in Neosho yesterday, leaving the business temporarily closed. Happened just before 7 yesterday morning after officials say the driver of the pickup accidentally hit the gas instead of the brake. Truck drove into the waiting area of the restaurant. Officials say no one was injured in the crash. Denny's is closed for now as they wait for a contractor to complete temporary repairs to bring the building back up to city code. Fire crews in Neosho battle a grass fire in Morse Park. Neosho Fire Department got the call around 1:30 yesterday afternoon. When they arrived, they found active flames rushing through the wildland brush, burning leaves and spreading quickly. Crews worked hotspots for hours as an estimated 30 acres burned. No homes or buildings were damaged. The cause of the fire is unknown. After a record year for pedestrian fatalities in 2022, there was a modest decrease to start 2023. A report from the Governor's Highway Safety Association found drivers struck and killed more than 3,300 people between January and June of 2023. It's a 4% drop from the first 6 months of 2022. Stepping back to look at the past decade, pedestrian fatalities are up 58% since 2013.
And a car really doesn't have to be going that fast to pose a deadly threat to a pedestrian, meaning like 25 or 35 miles an hour. That could be a fatal crash for a pedestrian if the car is large enough. And with more larger cars on the road, we're probably seeing the outcome of that in our crashes.
The GHSA says local governments that implement Vision Zero plans help drive down pedestrian fatalities. Measures include narrowing intersections with bump outs, adding more bike lanes, and increasing enforcement of traffic laws. Well, the town of Chetopa is losing its only grocery store. After more than 70 years, Chetopa Foods and Deli is closing. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Been a long time coming, but all the employees here, we've already found other jobs. We are just waiting to know for sure when the store is closing.
Chetopa Foods, this is Misty.
Chetopa Foods and Deli in Kansas is set to close before the end of 2024. Kevin Vaughn, an employee for 3 years, says the owner of the grocery store has made a decision to shut down the business, but has not picked a date. He believes it's because the owner is busy with other duties.
He lives in New York, so he's here and there. He's a truck driver, so he's too busy, actually, I think, to actually sit down and think it over right now. He's just going by what the store's doing today.
Once Chetopa Food closes, residents will only have a couple of variety stores. The closest grocery store is in Oswego, 9 miles away, and the closest Walmart is in Coffeyville, 28 miles away.
If we leave, it will hurt the community. They'll have to travel to go to get their groceries and whatever else they need from a grocery store.
One Chetopa resident, Jerry Dye, struggles with mobility after an accident. He's disheartened that the only grocery store in town is closing.
People are going to have to go farther now to get the same produce that they were getting from the store. Even if it's just 8 miles to G&W, it's, you know, a little bit of a hardship for some people that are on fixed incomes.
Dye believes this is another sign that Chetopa is dying.
And that was part of the nail in the coffin there, was losing your one and only grocery store.
Reporting in Chetopa, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Now, we don't have contact information for the owner, but the employees we spoke with believe the store will close within the coming months. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather, all in the first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Missouri Southern softball had its home opener yesterday afternoon. We're going to have the details on that. Plus, taxi drivers begin the first of a 2-day strike in Athens. And got a very cold but at least sunny day out there. We're going to have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Life's better when you're under our roof. And when you bundle your home and auto insurance today.
Well, yesterday was a beautiful day for softball in the 4 states, and after playing its first 15 games of the 2024 season on the road, Missouri Southern softball had its home opener yesterday afternoon, a doubleheader against Delta State. And the Lions get the afternoon started on the right foot. They shut out the Lady Statesmen 5-0 in Game 1 of the doubleheader. Kiki Pickens has a great start for Southern. She goes the entire game without allowing a run, strikes out 4, and allows just 3 hits. Lions win their first home game of the year. On the Game 2, windy day in Joplin. We're going to go to the bottom of the first. Taylor Knuckles skies a ball over the center fielder's head. She motors around to third. As she slides in safely, the throw goes out of play, so she gets to go home. Now to the second inning, still 1-0, until Hannah Dunn smashes this pitch to deep center. That's gone for a 3-run homer. Lions far from done. Same inning, Knuckles again up the middle and through for a base hit. 2 more Lions come in to score. It is now 6-0. Same inning, different pitcher, same result. Abby DeSanto rips a double in the left center with the bases loaded. All 3 runners score. 15 Lion batters come to the plate and 10 runs score in the second inning. Southern wins 11-0 and sweeps the doubleheader. Busy night for high school basketball across the 4 states. We're going to start with Pittsburgh Boys Hoops, who began its playoff journey last night at home. And they're at home for a sub-state semifinal against Spring Hill. Winner advances to Friday night. First 3 points of the game belong to the Purple Dragons, courtesy of a Jaden Brown 3. Next time down the floor, Brown open in the corner again. It's money again. Pittsburgh quickly up 6-0. A little later in the first, Brown gets the rejection. Purple Dragons off to the races, and Mason English finishes the fast break with a layup. Aiden Gazaway heats up in the second quarter. 6'7" junior goes nothing but net on an open 3. Next possession, he's open again and drills it again. It's part of 3 consecutive three-pointers from him. Right before half, long outlet passes from English. Gazaway rises up and slams with 2 hands. Purple Dragons sprint past Spring Hill 71-58. They'll play in the Sub-State Championship on Friday. At halftime of last night's Pittsburgh boys basketball playoff game, Purple Dragon offensive lineman Aiden Davis receives an official invite to the 2024 Shrine Bowl. He's the 59th Purple Dragon to be selected to the Kansas High School East versus West All-Star Game, which is 3rd most of any schools in Kansas. The game is on June 29th in Emporia. Here are a few more scores of playoff basketball in the area. Chanute Girls Hoops with a massive upset of 5th-seeded Wamego. Labette County girls win at home over Holton. That sets up a sub-state championship between the 2 of them on Friday. In that same 4A sub-state tournament, top seed Fort Scott takes care of business 46-13 over Paola. The Lady Tigers host a sub-state championship on Friday night as well. Over in Southwest Missouri, College Heights boys basketball wins once again. Cougars beat Blue Eyes 61-51. They move on to the Class 2 quarterfinals against Hartville on Saturday. Still to come, we're going to see why a new study shows bariatric surgery leads to better blood sugar control in people with type 2 diabetes. Plus, it's a very cold day out there, but worry not, it will eventually warm up. We'll talk about when that's going to happen with a look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Comfort this tax refund season at Derailed Commodity Flooring and Furniture
to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Hero Fund USA and KOAM News Now supporting the 4 states' first responders.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Coming up now on 5/18 on this Wednesday morning, halfway through the work week. And boy, we are being greeted with extraordinarily cold temperatures and breezy conditions once again. Our Cameron Cornell Complex downtown Joplin shaking in the wind. The flag's blowing pretty hard as well with that northerly breeze gusting out there upwards of 20 to 30 miles an hour. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line looks good. Same from the KDOT camera on 69 just south of Pittsburgh out there. But again, it is a very cold start. How cold is it? Well, it's that cold. 24 in Joplin. Feels like 14 with a northwest breeze at 10. It is hard to believe we were in the upper 60s and low 70s 24 hours ago. Temperatures around the region still at northerly breeze. We are cold, but at least we're all in the 20s. We don't have any teens out there in terms of our temperatures, but Iola, Yates Center pretty darn close to that. But that doesn't matter. Once you factor in that gusty wind, yeah, single-digit wind chills. Yates Center, Iola, Fort Scott, Stockton. Otherwise, we're in the teens is what it feels like out there. And our temperatures this morning, again, 30, 40, almost 50 degrees colder now than where we were 24 hours ago. So talk about a cold front. I mean, we've had cold fronts, and they'll drop the temperatures. But boy, this one packed a punch with that temperature change. Going through the morning, We were going to be in the low 70s yesterday. Today, we're talking 30 degrees by 11 this morning, but mostly clear skies. It'll still be breezy through the morning, but by the afternoon, the good news is that north wind calms down to about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We're looking at about low 40s today, some of us upper 30s, but again, plentiful sunshine, so at least it'll look nice out there, even though it's not necessarily going to feel all that fantastic. Heading into the evening, it's going to be another cold one. Temperatures falling through the 30s. We're going to go back into the upper 20s to right around 30 with mostly clear skies. We'll start to see a few more clouds as we head into early tomorrow morning, and that is ahead of some additional shower chances that we may have for our Thursday evening. Thursday, though, it's still cool compared to what we've seen, but we're about average, mid-50s, evening showers possible, nothing too significant, nothing too widespread, but a few stray showers. And then take a look, Friday looks great, 60, sunny skies, nice into the weekend. Winds pick up again on Sunday. It could be a little breezy tomorrow, but again, nothing like what we saw yesterday. And then look at that, we're darn near 80 degrees again as we head into the weekend. And we have another system that comes in, could bring us some showers, and it does knock our temperatures down a little bit, but it's not as powerful as the front that rolled through yesterday, so temperatures don't fall significantly, still above average as we go low 60s all the way through Wednesday, some showers on Wednesday, and then we'll return to the 70s for Thursday and Friday. We could see some additional showers by next Friday. Let's check your forecast. We will be back with Health Watch right after this.
The Chevy Silverado with available super
are waiting. It all starts with you. Be a Girl Scout.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a new study shows bariatric surgery leads to better blood sugar control in people with type 2 diabetes than non-surgical management with medication. Bariatric surgery, also called weight loss surgery, involves altering the digestive tract, usually by reducing the size of the stomach. The study looked at people with type 2 diabetes who had the surgery and those who tried to treat the condition with medications. Most doctors only recommend weight loss surgery for type 2 diabetes in patients with a body mass index of 35 or higher. But the new study may support lowering the BMI threshold. It found 51% of surgically treated participants had full remission of type 2 diabetes a year later. The Department of Justice has started an antitrust probe into United Health. The investigation into the Minnesota-based company has involved interviews with healthcare industry officials and representatives in areas where United Health competes with other groups. According to people with knowledge of the matter, the investigators are asking about links with United Health's insurance unit and its Optum Health Services arm. They're looking into any potential impact that United Health's doctor group acquisitions could have on its rivals. So far, there's been no comment from the United Health or the Justice Department. This comes as the Biden White House has ramped up its antitrust enforcement efforts to better protect consumers. Alabama lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are pushing to protect IVF after the state's Supreme Court ruled frozen embryos are children earlier this month. Tuesday, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra traveled to Alabama to hear directly from families and healthcare professionals who have been impacted by the decision. Jen Sullivan has details on what's being done at the state and federal level to protect IVF.
I came to listen.
Surrounded by a group of women in Alabama Tuesday afternoon, U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra listened to emotional stories about undergoing in vitro fertilization.
This is Gideon and this is Levi.
Like Julie Cohen, whose twins were born through IVF. She still has frozen embryos in Alabama. But after the state Supreme Court ruled earlier this month that frozen embryos are children and those who destroy them can be held liable for wrongful death, Cohen is concerned.
We're not allowed to move them. We're not allowed to transport them.
And then there are patients like Dr. Rachel Charles, who is scheduled for an embryo transfer in March.
This affects real people. This affects real families.
Following the ruling, at least 3 of Alabama's fertility clinics have halted certain IVF treatment. In response, state lawmakers have introduced a bill that says frozen embryos are not considered an unborn child or human being. And lawmakers in Washington on both sides of the aisle are pushing to protect IVF at the federal level.
The Republican Party is the pro-family party. So there's nothing more pro-family than welcoming new babies into the world.
IVF is the reason that I've gotten to experience the chaos and beauty, the stress and the joy that is motherhood.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth says she'll ask the chamber to vote on her bill to protect IVF on the Senate floor Wednesday. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Protesters are expected to voice their concerns and urge lawmakers to pass legislation to protect IVF at the Alabama State House today. Let's look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, and we watched temperatures drop 40 some odd degrees as we went through the overnight hours, as we got much colder behind a cold front that rolled through the area yesterday. Again, we're going to warm back up. Don't you worry. We'll have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Give us a call today to schedule your free in-home estimate. If you want the best for last, call Windows for Less.
Right now at 5:30, KDOT makes a change of plans for the Crawford County Corridor project. Plus, it is considerably colder out there, and it's still breezy this morning. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door. Coming up, visitors to Galena can take a walk on the retro side of Route 66.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:29, almost 5:30 on this cold Wednesday morning. I know yesterday was a fantastic day, great opportunity, get outside. I know it was breezy. I came home, my trash can was in my wife's parking spot in the driveway, even though I moved it to what I thought was a safe spot, but at least it wasn't dumped out. However, our back door mat was in our neighbor's yard. When I got home, I saw it. It was upside down, and I didn't really know what it was at first, so I was just like, somebody's trash is blowing around. Then I realized it was our doormat because I got to the door, and the doormat was missing. So hopefully you didn't lose any of your outdoor accessories with some of those very gusty winds yesterday. We're still breezy this morning. We're pretty darn cold, but at least the winds will let up a little bit as we head into the afternoon hours. Let's take a quick look outside. This is the MoDOT camera. It is located on a traffic signal pole on the southeast corner of 32nd and Range Line, and it is looking back to the west, and it's looking pretty all right out there. KDOT camera on 69 at the intersection of Kansas Crossing, looking back roughly to the north along the highway. Looks pretty good as well. The thing that the cameras can't tell us is just how cold it is. Thankfully, we have other technology that does that for us, and it is 24 degrees in Joplin this morning, 22 in Pittsburgh right now. Kids getting on the bus, make sure they have a coat and that they're bundled up, and they're going to want to keep that coat handy because it's not going to be very warm by this afternoon either. 24 when the kids get on the bus, mostly clear. Those winds still gusting though, north at 10 to 20, pushing 30 miles an hour. So we do have wind chills right now, single digits and teens out there. So make sure you're prepared for that as you head out today. And then when that bus brings them home, mostly clear, 41. But the good news is that north breeze lets up a bit, down to 5 to 10 miles an hour. We'll have mostly clear skies through the day and into the evening hours, so it's going to look great outside. It's just the temperatures are not going to be so pleasant, and it's going to be a bit of a slow climb up into the low 40s out there for us today, and some of us won't make it out of the upper 30s. The good news is, as I mentioned, we will warm up again eventually, and we'll have more details on that in your full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Now to this morning's top stories. Yesterday was National Retro Day, but a store in Galena, on the Galena part of Route 66, celebrates the day every day. Gearhead Curious has a variety of vintage items, many of which were gifted to the store owner, Aaron Perry. To recreate the ambience of the past, Perry's creativity knows no bounds, but Gearhead Curios isn't just a magnet for international travelers, it's also a spot for locals.
I'm here every day. When that traveler comes through, they're on a one-day adventure or maybe a 1 month or something like that. They get to experience that and let their mind wander and time travel, and I get to offer that every day. It is so cool.
It's just amazing because, you know, they're so excited and we're like, oh, this is just Galena, you know, like we get so used to everything, and they are so excited, and it's amazing.
Gearhead Curios restroom is also unique. To wash your hands, for example, you use a gas pump nozzle. Perry says each day spent at Gearhead Curios is a fulfillment of a dream, and they are in Galena and open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Plans for a new bypass on Highway 69 near Pittsburgh are headed back to the drawing board. KDOT held a lunch at Crestwood Country Club in Pittsburgh. There, they announced they were stopping progress on the Western Alignment Plan for the Crawford County corridor in response to feedback. All options are back on the table, including the Western Alignment. They also announced a new corridor study to reevaluate their options. That study will be broken into 2 phases. The first will collect traffic and safety data as well as public input. The second will develop plans to move forward.
Today is not a public meeting. Today is what I would call a stakeholder meeting. We are meeting very specifically with the US 69 Association, which have advocated for this project for decades, and really improvements on the entire US 69 corridor from Kansas City all the way down to the Oklahoma border. We appreciate everything that they do to bring the communities along, to help understand the needs of the communities and bring those to us.
New study is expected to take 12 to 18 months to complete. It's been just more than a month since a pipe burst at the Jasper County Courthouse in Carthage. In that time, the building was dried out and damaged materials, including ceiling tiles, subflooring, drywall, and electronics, have been removed. Nearly 1/3 of the courthouse offices were affected, including the county collector. However, officials are now looking to start rebuilding those offices in the coming weeks.
We have to rebuild this office from the ceiling grid to the underlayment on the floor and replaster walls. We've been meeting this morning with contractors and subcontractors, and we have a better handle on what we think we're going to need to do. As much as I'd love for it to be open, believe me, I'd love for it to be open, we're just going to have to rebuild it. It's going to take some time.
If you do need access to the collector's office or any other offices affected by the water damage, officials say the Joplin offices are the best place to conduct business, and of course you can also do so online. City of Pittsburgh tees up for a groundbreaking ceremony on a new mini golf facility. City officials, key stakeholders, donors, and the community came out to celebrate and share details about the project located at the Four Oaks Golf Course. Private donations and grant funding made the facility possible.
There's not a lot to do for the, 7 to 27 crowd. There's, you have adult golf or youth sports, but for entertainment wise, and we envision, the high schools being able to have like senior night out here on, on a Friday night or something like that, or stay open for them to give that age group a little bit more to do.
New mini golf facility is expected to be open by summer of 2024. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Residents in Gaza receiving aid by planes, airdropping aid boxes on the Rafah and Khan Yunis. We'll have the details on that. Plus, the Pentagon is taking a new look at its approach to war as Iran-backed Houthi rebels and the Ukraine war continue to cause problems. Well, the latest on that as well. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
.com and the law offices of Aaron Sachs and Associates, committed to community service.
Topping World Watch, the King of Norway has been hospitalized in the Regent Royal House, saying in a statement Tuesday that King Harald V was admitted to the hospital with an infection while on vacation in Malaysia. The 87-year-old monarch has been plagued by several illnesses in recent months. Royal officials say that Crown Prince Haakon will handle planned engagements at home. Harald is the oldest monarch in Europe. Taxi drivers begin the first day of a 2-day strike in Athens, Greece. More than 200 taxis drove through the center of Athens on Tuesday as part of a demonstration. The second day of their strike was planned to coincide with a nationwide strike by public and some private sector workers. It is expected to disrupt public transportation, ground flights, and leave ferries tied up in port. Drivers want the government to impose stronger regulations on ride-sharing apps and a reduction in taxes and access to bus lanes. On Wednesday, the country's air traffic controllers will participate in the strike, and medical staff and teachers are also expected to participate. The Popocatépetl Say that 3 times fast. Volcano erupting in Mexico Tuesday. The volcano, and we're going to go with this, also known as Don Goyo, has been restless since the early morning with over 77 exhalations carrying water, vapor, ash, and gas. 952 minutes of tremors have been recorded within the last 24 hours. Light ashfall has also been recorded in the region due to the volcano. The agency is warning locals not to approach the volcano due to the dangers of falling ballistic fragments. Long-running gang trial in the Netherlands has come to an end. A Dutch court convicting 17 people in a string of killings in the Netherlands. 3 of the gang members received life sentences, including the country's most wanted fugitive, Ridouan Taghi. The Public Prosecution Service alleged the defendants were part of a murder organization that was involved in the killing of journalist Peter de Vries in 2021. While lawyers for the suspects sought their acquittal based on the trial being unfair and that the suspects had already been convicted in the court of public opinion. The convictions and sentences can be appealed. Residents in Gaza receiving aid on Tuesday as planes airdropping aid boxes on the Rafah and Khan Yunis as hundreds of Palestinians rush to get supplies. The UN says 138 truckloads of aid were given to Gaza. The relief comes from the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Jordan, France, and Qatar. A December UN report found that a quarter of Gaza's 2.3 million people are starving. Pentagon is taking a new look at its approach to war as Iran-backed Houthi rebels and the Ukraine war continue to cause problems. Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin has the story.
On Ukraine's front lines, innovative hunter-killer drone units like these are taking off-the-shelf technology to target and kill Russian troops.
These are the drones where the operator wears goggles and then flies them like a kamikaze into the target. So the unarmed drone would first find it, and then they would send up the fast racer to go and actually strike it.
The Pentagon is taking notice.
We learned when somebody's back is up against the wall, they come up with a lot of creative solutions. And if they don't have a lot of money, like Ukraine doesn't, they can figure it out.
Ukraine's army repurposed an American Patriot missile battery, typically a defensive weapon, to bring down 5 Russian warplanes last May, according to U.S. and Ukrainian officials. U.S. Army Chief General Randy George recently visited the Army's premier training facility at Fort Johnson, Louisiana, where U.S. troops are already applying lessons from Ukraine. American soldiers are learning to protect their digital footprint, their iPhones, which can give away their locations and get them killed, while also figuring out how to defend themselves from drone attacks like those U.S. troops are facing in Iraq and Syria. In Ukraine, small off-the-shelf quadcopter drones have transformed the battlefield, locating targets for larger conventional weapons like artillery. General James Hecker, who oversees all U.S. air forces in Europe, says the lessons from Ukraine are helping the U.S. military prepare for the Pacific.
We need to think about that to protect ourselves against that threat that's going to come in swarms. What the Houthis did, what Russia's doing is nothing compared to what we're going to see.
The new supplemental funding bill awaiting a vote in Congress has $560 million allocated for counter-drone technology for the U.S. military, based on what the Pentagon has learned from Ukraine.
That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
When you're part of a Touchstone Energy Cooperative, you have a voice.
Visit membersfirst.coop, a message from your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:46 now on this Wednesday morning, and it is a very cold Wednesday morning out there. Live look from our camera on the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. There it goes, still shaking in the breeze. Flags on City Hall still blowing in that wind. It's a northerly wind behind that front from yesterday, and it is causing for some unpleasant wind chills, and it brought in some extraordinarily unpleasant temperatures as well. MoDOT camera, 32nd and Range Line in Joplin, looking pretty good. It's looking back to the west, and it's not too bad. I mean, it's just the temperatures really stink, and that wind doesn't help either. KDOT camera on 69 just south of Pittsburgh, also looking pretty good out there as well. It's just, unfortunately, as I mentioned, it is very cold. It is 24 in Joplin, and if that's not cold enough, feels like 14 with a northwest breeze at about 10 miles an hour. We're still seeing some of those gusts upwards of 20 to 30 miles an hour out there. Temperatures around the region, Iola now getting colder, 19 degrees as the cold spot. Everyone else in the 20s right now. But with the wind blowing out of the north and with those gusts, that doesn't matter at all. We've got single-digit wind chills. Yates Center, Iola, Fort Scott, and Stockton. Everyone else into the teens. There's really not that much difference out there from the single digits to the teens. It feels very cold, so you absolutely want to bundle up. This is what the cold front's done to us compared to 24 hours ago from right now. We are from 30 to almost 50 degrees colder now than where we were 24 hours ago, because yesterday we were roughly in the 60s and even some low 70s yesterday morning. Today, nowhere near that. Mostly clear skies. The winds hold on through about noon, 1 o'clock, and then thankfully they at least let up on us, but only 30 by 11 a.m. Our average highs into the 50s. We're going to be 10 to 15 below those average highs as we go upper 30s to low 40s out there. Mostly clear skies, but again, the north wind calms down, be about 5 to 10 miles an hour by the time we head into the afternoon. Mostly clear through the evening and overnight, but cold out there. Again, we're going to fall back upper 20s to right around 30 degrees. And then we'll have southerly winds gusting occasionally to 20 tomorrow. We're a little warmer, back to average at least, 55. And some evening showers possible. Nothing too crazy out there, but a few stray showers will be possible by late evening Thursday. Warmer on Friday, warmer yet Saturday and Sunday is through the weekend. We get close to 80 degrees. Once again, we're going to be breezy on Sunday. And we have another system coming in. It's going to knock our temperatures down again, but as you can see, not nearly as powerful as this system. We're only going to fall back into the low 60s out there for highs. Rain on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday possibly, and then we're going to go back into the 70s as we head toward the end of next week. So this cold spell, again, does not last very long, thankfully. That's Check Your Forecast. We will be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Habitat.org.
One St. Louis man is proving that you are never too old to achieve your dream. He graduated from Harris-Stowe State University at the age of 74, making him the university's oldest graduate. It was also a dream that was 50 years in the making. Melanie Johnson has more on the man willing to do anything to make his dreams come true and how he says he still has more to do.
A journey that dates back to 1973 when David Morris stepped onto a college campus for the first time after being drafted to the military.
Nothing worth having comes easy.
It took 50 years for him to live out the dream that was delayed but not denied.
If you tell somebody your dreams, and if they're not laughing and shaking your head at you, you're not dreaming big enough.
At 74 years old.
And I walked across this stage and it seemed like everybody was just genuinely happy for me.
Morris finally taking the walk that took decades to happen and graduated with a bachelor's degree.
Mr. Morris, please stand.
His daughter cheering him on. He was the oldest in his fall 2023 graduating class at Harris-Stowe State University.
For your children, what do you want them to know in this life?
I want them to know that they can achieve anything they want to achieve.
The road to crossing the stage came with setbacks.
I had a stroke in 2007.
And back-to-back losses that stood in the way of living out his dreams sooner.
My brothers and sisters, there's 3 of us left. They all died from colon cancer. I had a daughter that was 19. God. Hell of a basketball player. Lost her in a car accident in 2000. My wife lived 2 years and 8 months after being diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
He's somebody who's like, you know what, this is not a dream deferred. This is something that I'm going to do.
Karen Zamarco was his student success coach as Morris only needed one class to make it to the finish line. Spanish.
Buenos dias. Oh, bien, y tú? I knew that it was going to be something special when Mr. Morris told me his student ID number and it was only 3 digits long.
With a degree in general studies with an emphasis on history,
I'm still not done.
The now 75-year-old has an even bigger dream.
His willingness to say, you know what, you're never too old and it's never too late.
So what's next for you?
Law school. Law school. I'm going to law school.
A history maker with a message: when life gets tough,
and just don't give up, you know.
It gets better.
Here's some more good news. After finding out about Morris's dreams to become an attorney, a lawyer in St. Louis has volunteered to get him into law school and eventually help him take the bar exam. Pretty cool. We'll be right back.
I'm a Missouri Farm Bureau insurance agent.
Your gateway to news your way. Powered by KOAM News Now.
Well, newborn babies with the same birthday as a popular children's writer could get a free book. Dr. Seuss Enterprises says it will give away 10,000 copies of Cat in the Hat to families with a baby born this Saturday to celebrate the author's 120th birthday. Each copy will include a personal message to each child. The company says the giveaway is part of Seuss's mission to provide easy access to books and literacy programs for all kids. Parents will have 90 days to claim the book by submitting contact information and proof of the baby's birth date to the Dr. Seuss Enterprises website. Eggo is taking National Pancake Day to the next level with its new House of Pancakes. The company announced on Monday that its new House of Pancakes will be available to rent. The house has a chimney that resembles a stick of butter, and the interior is decked out in breakfast-themed decor. The house is located in the pancake capital of the South, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Those interested in booking a stay can do so on hometogo.com starting today. And today, a great time opportunity to maybe head where it's a little warmer, as it's going to be very cold out there. Still breezy through the mornings. We're going to deal with the gusty north winds and those cold wind chills. Mostly clear skies, though. It'll look nice, like we've mentioned. 30 by 11 o'clock this morning. Highs today about 10, 15 degrees below normal as we go upper 30s, low 40s. But the winds calm down this afternoon. They'll be north at about 5 to 10. And they're mostly clear skies. Mostly clear through the evening and overnight as well, but still cold. Upper 20s to right around 30 degrees. We're going to be closer to normal tomorrow. Could see some gusty south winds out there, but not like what we saw yesterday. Mid 50s and maybe a late evening shower or two Thursday night. Warmer on Friday, much warmer heading into this weekend as we go near 80 degrees once again. And then we have another system coming in from Sunday into Monday. It's going to drop our temperatures, as you can see, but it's not as significant of a drop as what we just experienced. We're only going to fall back in the low 60s. Rain chances Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then by the end of next week, we're back into the 70s. So this little cold spell doesn't last long, but boy, it's going to feel like it's lasting forever until we get warm again. Let's check your forecast. Got another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
We offer pre-arrangement funeral plans at Bath Naylor and Frisco.